All right, we have lots of movies coming out today. Let me tell you. The best one probably first, so you can then listen because there are a lot of kind of niche movies coming out today of ones that some people like, not everybody. But the big movie this week is Monsters vs. Aliens, and this is the first of the 3D movies. There are, let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11, almost a dozen 3D movies coming out this season, including Toy Story, A Christmas Carol. Final Destination, Death Trip, wow. Up, Battle for Terra, which I will review for you in a couple of weeks. But this is the first one. This has got Reese Witherspoon and Seth Rogen, and the idea is that we've got a whole bunch of oddballs who have to save the Earth from aliens. And I really love this movie. I mean, I'm not that much of a fan of animation, to be quite honest. And 3D, I mean, I hated those big, cardboard things. These are great glasses. I mean, they look great on Vince. They, plastic, and it's great 3D. Kids love this. It's sophisticated enough that adults will love it. This is going to be the #1 movie, and should be. And you're going to want to see it in a theater, which is what all this is hoopla is about, is instead of just being able to get it on a DVD. We know, for example, the Jonas Brothers, the concert that was both in regular theaters and in 3D, that the number of people who saw it in 3D, I think, was 3 to 4 times more people who wanted to see it in that venue than a regular one. So 3D is the new whatever. All right, Monsters vs. Aliens. You'll love it. Your kids will love it. It's funny. It actually has some social value. It's terrific. And Paul Rudd is in it. Let me go through some movies that are a little bit more. Having now gone to something that's very family friendly, let me tell you about something that is not so family friendly, which is American Swing. And this is the story of Larry Levinson, who started. Do you know who Larry Levinson was, Bobby? If I said Plato's Retreat, you would probably know Larry Levinson. He started Plato's Retreat in 1977. And this is a documentary about him. It's interesting. To say it's pornography doesn't mean, I mean, it's badly shot porn because they show all the pictures of Plato's Retreat, but it's bad film. I mean, it's like somebody in a trench coat, was taking dirty pictures. But I guess that's part of the point of it, and it really looks at an era when the United States was a lot more innocent in some ways than it is now, and it was pre-AIDS as well. So American Swing, if you want to feel nostalgic, and what's kind of interesting is these people who are obviously of a certain age talking about their misspent youth. Goodbye Solo is a lovely movie with 2 wonderful performances. The idea is an old reprobate who's clearly very depressed finds a cab driver, and I'm not going to tell you much about the movie because I want you to discover it the same way I did. But this is a wonderful movie, wonderful performances. This is part of why we go to movies. I mean, Monsters vs. Aliens is really fun. We'll make a whole lot of money. It's a popcorn movie. Goodbye Solo is a wonderful movie about human behavior and how people relate to one another, and sadness, and how we find happiness in this life. Guest of Cindy Sherman is, for those of you who love the downtown art scene, I didn't know who Cindy Sherman was. If you do, you'll probably like the movie. If you didn't, you probably won't. Spinning into Butter. I told you there's a lot of movies this week. This has got Sarah Jessica Parker in dowdy brown hair as a dean of a school in which there is a racial incident. This is a movie that actually could have been wonderful, and I'm not sure why it's not. Spinning into Butter is taken from the notion of little black Sambo who has to give his coat to the tigers, and they chase each other around, holding onto their tails until they spin into butter. I know, a little obscure. It's a provocative movie. What I would probably do with this movie is show it in high schools to talk about racism in America. The Perfect Sleep is, again, the opposite of the spectrum. This is kind of very film noirish. It's very like Sam Spade meets Dostoevsky, which is how I reviewed it. It's The Idiot, done by Sam Spade. I just loved it. I thought it was really fun. It's violent, but it's really smart. Shall We Kiss? I must admit I saw it twice. This is a French movie that I'd forgotten I'd seen. I'd seen it so long ago. Another lovely movie about 2 people who run into each other by chance, and it's my favorite subject, which is, should these people have an affair? I loved everything about this movie, which is told someone in flashback, except the last, 90 seconds, and you'll see why if you see it. So, you can't really miss this weekend. Let me tell you really quickly. I know Bobby, he wants me through this. All right. Phaedos is a Fados refers to a Portuguese style of music, which is somewhat tango-esque and somewhat flamenco-esque. If you love it, you'll love it. If you're not, probably skip it. Everlasting Moments is a lovely little movie that's like reading a lovely novel about kind of a depressed, subjugated Swedish woman who discovers life through a lens and how it changes her. So, American Swing, about Pledge Retreat, Monsters vs. Aliens for everybody, Goodbye Solo, a lovely character piece, Guest of Cindy Sherman, Downtown Art Scene Only, Spinning into Butter, probably more an object lesson than a movie you're going to enjoy, The Perfect Sleep, something fun to watch, Shall We Kiss, absolutely unbeatable, but Bobby, wait, we haven't done DVDs yet. Bobby! I told you that's why I did the Bond heroines, because we've got Quantum of Silence coming out. One of the worst names movie ever. I know it was the name of Ian Fleming's short story, but it's still, what a lousy title, but what a lovely movie. Lovely isn't really the right word. I think Daniel Craig is the best Bond ever. No, I love Sean too, but Daniel is much more modern, much more athletic, probably a better actor. And this movie takes place just after Casino Royale, I think about 8 minutes later or some such thing. Great stunts. Poor Daniel, he tells us how to deal with a broken heart. Bolt was nominated for an Oscar, again with Kung Fu Panda and Wall-E. A fun movie. John Travolta voices Bolt, who's a dog who doesn't know the difference between fantasy and reality because he's been in movies. Give you any idea about Hollywood? Kite Runner is the movie adaptation. This was really 2007's version of Slumdog Millionaire. It was set in a foreign country with the idea of kids from both sides of the track trying to find some communality and humanity and how they betray one another. And you can see it as a forerunner to Slumdog. You can also see why it didn't work quite as well, not quite as charismatic a lead, but a nice movie to see as well. If you want more of this, you can go to drjoyreviews.com, and all of the reviews are written out and gives you ideas about what to do for your family or a date night or whatever. So drjoyreviews.com. I'm Dr. Joy Browne.